Greetings. This is a walkthrough video. Off to a good start already, having cleared my throat. A walkthrough video of my online Canvas C1000, formerly known as 1A, hybrid course. Okay, so hybrid, just to give you the basics, which we're going to be dealing with in class. It is a class where half the learning occurs online and half of the learning occurs in the classroom setting. Okay. So if we have 2 hours of class on, let's say, Thursdays, we're going to have an additional 2 hours of class, videos, handouts, things like that, class discussion posts, things like that online. Now, is it exactly going to take you 2 hours? No. For some of you, you're going to spend 3 hours in here because you want to be thorough and you want to see everything two or three times. Others of you, maybe when we're covering ethos, pathos, and logos, you're like, I already learned that. I'm really good at that. Just did it in philosophy last semester or whatever. And so you skip over that. Or you only have to look at it once on high speed where I'm talking really fast, and that's fine too. So, again, half of the learning. So, instruction that I give you through videos that I create, through videos that I find that perhaps do it better than I would because they got the fancy animation or whatever, through handouts, through the discussion posts where you post and you reply and things like that. Through all of those things, we're going to spend about 2 hours on Canvas every week. Okay. 2 hours in here. Uh, if this is an 8 week accelerated, it would be 4 hours on Canvas every week and 4 hours in class every week. Okay, because it's twice as fast, so it's twice as much. Okay, so I'm going to share screen and I'm going to do this fairly quickly. And what you're seeing may not look exactly like what you see because this is the quote unquote student view. But it also, I change my courses every semester. So there might be some refinements, things named a little bit differently. I'm not always going to update this video because the essence of the video is still going to be the same. Okay. When I make wholesale changes to my courses, that's when I record a new one of these. Hence, this one you're seeing right now. All right. So let's go to sharing screen and we're going to first look at Canvas. Okay. All right. So here is what the student view looks like. And if you see that, purpley pink thing at the bottom, uh, that's just sort of stuck there to let the instructor know I'm in student view. Okay, so what you're going to see is the course. You're going to see stuff coming up that is ready for you to do. You're going to see an opportunity to look at the course calendar, which is going to have a whole bunch of dates laid out so you know what's due and so you can kind of plan for it with it coming up. And then over here on the left, you're going to have announcements. So if I send an announcement to the entire class, it goes to you as an email, but it also shows up as an announcement, a little thing flagged on the Canvas app for you to then read. Your grades, of course, for all the different assignments, which I record as points, and you will be able to see your grade as points and percentages. And then modules. Modules are sort of the big ticket thing here. Obviously, farther down here with discussions as well. But we're going to talk about the modules first. So, modules are basically giant folders that are going to be filled with a bunch of smaller items like video links, PDFs, quizzes, and other assignments, that kind of thing. So the first one in this iteration, and it's typically going to be the one at the top for my classes, is the syllabus. And what I have done is I've taken the syllabus PDF, which you guys are going to get a copy of in class, and I've turned it into a bunch of small individual quote unquote pages. So the class agenda, the course description and goals, the SLO, student learning outcomes, objectives, things like that, our communication plan, the writing and reading center requirement, which is crucial to this class, the assignment or grade breakdown, important dates for adding and dropping, things like that. And it just keeps going for quite a bit. And then below this, depending on what semester it is, will be a printable version of the entire PDF, which will include all of these things here, right? All of those individual items, as well as all of the reading assignments, all the writing assignments, everything like that, the quizzes, DLAs, everything, discussion posts, all of that stuff for the entire semester in a printable PDF if that's how you roll. Or if you want it saved on your desktop as a digital file that you can always just immediately call up. I have my own syllabus on my desktop here so that if I need to look at something real quick, boom, it's right there. Okay. And then we go down to the next section, which is week one. Start here on day one, week one. And Generally speaking, again, subheading names here might change, but generally speaking, I'm going to have at the top a bunch of basically lessons and reading assignments, handouts, that kind of thing. Okay. So, in terms of my lessons, one is my WRC lab overview, explanation of what you need to do and how you need to do it. I've also found a couple, three here, really good videos on code switching and Du Bois and double consciousness, which is what a lot of my C1000s, at least in this era, are using as their main first essay. And then first day assignments. Here's a source. Actually, that should be up here. We have assignments. Post reply number 1. So that's a discussion post. Enroll in the lab. Give me that office selfie for extra credit points. Complete the quiz based on the syllabus, and then complete Writing Center DLA number 1. Okay, so that's week 1. Then we're going to go to week 2, and this is developing your essay 1. So getting deeper into essay 1. That's week 3. We're revising, and at the end of week 3, for this particular course that I'm showing you, they were submitting essay 1 by the end of that week. Right? All good, great, awesome. Why does all this matter? So each module basically tells you what's happening in a given week. Okay. So week 1's module is going to be the reading assignments for that week, the writing assignments for that week, the writing center assignments for that week, the discussion post assignments for that week, all of that stuff online. So let's say I gave you a PDF of an article. Well, you're going to read that article through Canvas, or I'll give you a printed copy, and you're then going to be able to talk about it on Thursday or whatever in class, that kind of thing. So the goal here is to think of these modules as additional information that I don't have class time to give you because I've lost 2 hours of class time. I've moved it over here. There are going to be videos where I'm going to say watch. There's going to be a reading source where it's going to be source number 1. And if you click, we'll just stop sharing. And now I'm going to share again. Bear with me. So here's an example of what the syllabus is going to look like. You'll notice that it says here, week 1, this is the whole document, right? But week 1, what do we have to do? Readings for this week, we have to read source number 1 on Canvas, okay? So that thing that was labeled source number 1 in week 1 essays module, that was it, okay? So why does all this matter? You're going to have to understand that this is not an online class that occasionally meets in person or a once a week class that does a little bit of stuff online. It's a 50-50 mix. I'm going to do my best to make our class meeting every week a really positive and productive one, but it's not going to be me talking to you for 2 hours. That is inefficient. I can talk to you online. I want to be able to work with you. So we're going to be spending more time in class writing. We're going to be doing drafting. We're going to be sharing out with each other in pairs or in groups. Like you each draft your thesis statement and then you get in a circle and kind of the 4 or 5 of you share your thesis and everybody says, oh, that sounds good. And here's what you could do, right? Or we're going to be dissecting the work in class where I'm going to have you guys do the reading before we come to class. That's going to be part of your homework. And then we're going to break up into groups and you guys are going to dissect that reading. We're going to really understand it, present something up on the board, that kind of thing. By the way, no group projects in this class. So we are going to try to use the class time in person to be interactive. I'm interacting with you. You're interacting with each other. We're drafting. We're getting feedback. Everything's happening in that moment, nice and live. Anything that we can do more static, right? Like when a professor is lecturing, what are you guys doing? Listening. If we're each doing only one thing, it's not terribly interactive, right? I'm talking, you're listening in some kind of generic lecture. Well, I can lecture online and you can listen online. That works just fine. Doesn't have to be a whole lot of class time spent doing that. Discussing an essay. So let's say we all read the same article over the weekend and we're coming into class and we're going to pick it apart. That's much more interactive because I'm going to say something and then I'm going to ask a question. One of you answers and that sparks somebody else to say, oh yeah, but what about this? And now we're all bouncing off of each other. That can't happen online very well. Online class discussions don't really ever achieve that. It's a couple like, hey, here's what I had to say. And the person says, that sounds great. Here's what I said. And they say, that sounds great. And that's the end of it, right? Not terribly useful, not terribly interactive. So the interactive stuff, that's the class time stuff. Okay. So make sure that you're coming onto Canvas. You're here more often than you're in class, but not for necessarily as much time. You should be checking in every day. Sometimes it's going to be a quick 15 minutes. Sometimes it's going to be a half an hour. Maybe that Wednesday before class, you're going to do it for an hour, whatever it might be, that kind of interactive. But it's not sit and stare at 2 hours of videos in one shot on a Monday or something like that. Not going to be that at all. Okay. I hope this was helpful. I know it was a little bit rambling. Get used to it. That's what I'm like in class. Time for me to record another video for you guys. I have to change my shirt, so at least it looks like I'm doing it on a different day. Take care.